Mark Chase in the Times, I think he's really rising as a columnist. I really like what he's doing. I like seeing him out at news events and so forth. Younger guy. And he notes that Tom Philpot and Bob Cantrell are basically out of prison at around the same time. Philpot, I believe, got out and has been
last week.
Last week, and he's out. He'd been in a halfway house. Cantrell got out like 6 months early, I guess, because it was crowded, and he's going to a halfway house. Mark Chase brings up a situation here where talking about scared straight programs. You know what that's like. Sometimes locally the police will take a guy that they think has some potential to be a good kid, but he's going in the wrong direction. They'll take him into the prison. They might take him to a work camp. They might even just take him to, sometimes a dad or an uncle will take a kid to go see some dude who drank too much and did too much drugs, and now he can't even think. Whatever it might be, there's a scared straight mentality out there. I don't know if he's tongue-in-cheek about this, but he says the concept behind scared straight is changing the direction of juvenile delinquents. Maybe this same sort of shock therapy could help Lake County's elected and government officials. In other words, could Tom Philpot and Bob Cantrell get together and come up with some sort of message that might slow down corruption in the future? Verlie, you're willing to take this one on.
I would definitely not take a pass on this. First of all, we all know the rate of recidivism. Please. Bobby Cantrell teach you not how to be a criminal, be a crook. First of all, it takes rehabilitation yourself to be able to help rehabilitate other people.
5 years in the pokey.
In a country club setting?
Well, I mean,
he didn't do hard
they
time
don't do rocks
on cell
anymore,
block,
really.
cell block C. I mean, he had a vacation. He's in shape now. He's probably lost a few pounds. He's probably going to come out of this halfway house looking better than he went in. He hasn't had the stress of maneuvering politics here in Lake County for 5 years. Oh, you know what? I forget they still have internet and phones. So he's probably still been behind the scenes orchestrating what happens here in Lake County.
If Bob Cantrell and Tom Philpot came to you and you're program director, as you have been in the past, and they said, hey, we want to go on the air and we want to talk about anti-corruption measures in Lake County, and I think we have something to add to that, would you accept their plea?
I would wonder who's paying them under the table.
You know what? You have been around here so long that your cynicism is just so thick. What is going on with you? Is there no hope?
I lived in East Chicago. I've been through the Sidewalk 6. People have come to me over all my years in life and have told me the behind-the-scenes stories. I have so many stories in my head right now that if it wasn't hearsay, I could probably be a mole for the FBI. But the thing about it, Bobby Cantrell, Tom Philpot, and, I know them both, very gentlemanly people, but I know them both.
Baker, can we get something out of these two guys? I know that Mark Chase is probably making a tongue-in-cheek.
Yes.
But he's not the only one who has thought of this. I mean, other people, what if in the weirdest of ways, a really nasty situation could be turned around to get a message out to elected leaders?
That would be great. However, how are you going to go about doing it? Because you're going to have to pass some type of a law or ordinance to be able to do it and then enforce it. And that's going to be the issue for me. It's going to be enforcing it. What about these two working for Cal Bellamy and his ethics group actually going after people who aren't doing it and have some repercussions if they are not able to do something like that?
All right, let's talk about the Cal Bellamy group. Ethics, and everybody should sign the ethics thing and so forth. That's all great and fine and dandy. Oh, I pledge to do ethical behavior and so forth. But they have no teeth.
Didn't George Van Til sign that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what that means. I mean,
it means nothing. It's just it's signing on the dotted line, and it means nothing. There is no weight behind it. If they were to sign something and say that should I be found to have done something unethical, I will vacate my office, that would be one thing. But just to sign it just for the heck of not being listed as one of the people who didn't sign it means nothing.
Baker, what do you think about
Oh, I
that?
agree. And, I've had exposure to the State Board of Accounts, excuse me, on the river. And, I was asking the lady who's doing it for the State Board of Accounts, because, we take our pride in not having any knocks on that thing. And I asked her, I says, well, what happens if we just make it a note on the report. I said, okay, so if something happens, you make a note, then what? Well, then that's for people to take a look at. Well, having looked at it and researched it a little more, there's really no enforcement of that. It really has to go to the Attorney General, and the Attorney General has to pick it up to be able to enforce that state. So my thing is, why are you doing an audit if you're not going to enforce the things that are being audited?